have thermal mass and you have an insulation, guess what's happened? The radiant, the reflected heat heats up the outside surface so much that it gets extremely hot. So this is a 100-year heat rain test with their proprietary systems, MyTech, etc. It's completely integrated. And I like that because if anything's going to fail, it's going to be a coating system. Now, straight from CSO the other day, one of the engineers flicked me this up here, just looking at the total thermal, the R value. And when you add that up, you get 2.068. If you go up with your insulation, you want to really go for it, absolutely, you know, kill it. You just go another 25 mil, you're up to 3 with a system R rating. Compare with the BCA reference for 250 cavity brickwork with internal plaster, it's about 0.68. Okay, so 3 times immediate thermal rating. Now you imagine what that will do to star rating. We've got 2 houses out at Mount Pleasant. We're building one in cavity brickwork with air cell in the centre of the cavity, E-rated glass, and we've got an urban form house next door, which we're giving the brick house a 4-month head start. It's a handicap, right? And then we'll start the other one. We should finish about the same time, I think. But the both came up on the burst software at 7.5 star. Andrew's friend, who's an energy assessor, did the analysis. Both 7.5. So it's not that difficult to achieve those higher star ratings when you. And by the way, because of the block orientation, the long walls were on the east and west face, so they got all the heat load. So they weren't efficiently. The blocks didn't allow for a really efficient orientation. If you put air cell on one wall, it's 1.3, but if you, as I said, if you put it in, I didn't say, but if you put it in the centre cavity, you can get your cavity brickwork up to 2, but that is depending on the installation, how well it's installed. If the tape comes off or something with the air cell well, it's a little bit questionable. It doesn't take into account thermal breaks either. Cost comparisons, you know, this was an afterthought. I didn't even think about, oh, of course, I'm sure people will be interested in the cost. For me, it's so obvious I don't even question it. Plus, we haven't got to the point where we've finalised and got totally specific because it's not apples and apples, unfortunately. We've really got a lot of hidden costs that are very hard to ascertain. We'll probably only have those fully catalogued when with the 2 identical houses in the different systems. It'll take a while. We already know a lot. And I have to say, as my operations manager said, who's an Italian who grew up with masonry and all things concrete, etc., and masonry and stone and brick, he said, this is like comparing a Miele to a Westinghouse. So, if we look at what we're finding, if we look at just direct comparisons, straight off without the hidden costs, our internal, comparing to a single leaf rendered plastered single leaf wall, where the internal wall is about 30 to 40% more. The external one, however, because of we're competing with 2 leaves of brickwork without air cell, is about 0 to 10% more. And once you put air cell in at $14 plus builder's margin plus GST per square metre, then of course it's neck and neck. Okay. There are other options here. We can go to the poly panel, probably look for that, which will bring that down probably 0 to 20% more. But here's the thing, what do we save here? You know, those guys are coming with ankle grinders and cut the hell out of the brick walls and, you know, whatever structural integrity it had in the first place, and it's gone out the window because it's full of sliced and diced, isn't it? With a little bit of bog. You know all the trades here, you know what I'm talking about. Well, that cost is gone, much less the lack of structural integrity. Steel lintels and cavity structural steel in the project you just saw, which is our green home, we would have saved about 15,000 just because of the inherent flexural strength I mentioned before that saved me putting top supporting lintels across the brickwork, because I have complete highlight windows around the house. I would have had to, and also taking out the cavity steel I would have had to have right through the brickwork all the way around. So we were way ahead just on that one thing there on that project. Site wastage and cleanup costs, $550 for a 9 metre, whatever it is, cubic bin, and that's getting more and more expensive. We've used 2 bins on that project so far. If it was conventional construction, it would have been 10 or 12 bins with, and bobcat costs as well to get that waste into the bin. Hoists, scaffold time, you saw how we didn't need the scaffold only to a certain point. If we're completing a project faster and more efficiently, you see, understand, we've eliminated one whole trade there. When you have those walls up, the roof goes on, we're going straight in, we flush the walls, we're going straight in with the cabinet work and the chip rock. The render and the plaster trade is all gone. And that's a beautiful thing, right? That whole mess is gone. Can you imagine? If you're a builder, you know what I'm talking about. And of course, holding costs. Someone is paying when things are being built. Someone is paying interest on that land. So everything you can hear today, being an absolute sucker for green technologies, I mean, we're incorporating every one of these things that you hear today in this new green home, including urban form walls, double glazing, geo exchange, heating and cooling, solar power, wind power, underfloor hydronics, eco monitoring, in-ground rainwater harvesting, above ground rainwater harvesting, grey water diversion, green walls. It'll be a show home for all green technologies, and I'd like to invite you at some point, just take one of my business cards, to come and visit when we're a bit more progressed and you can see all these technologies in place. And also get our eco blog from a lot of industry experts about what's going on at the cutting edge of this green thing. So just to finish off, I'd like to thank you for attending today once again, and to hopefully the outcome of today will be a commitment and an awareness of what we can actually do to take the bat and ball into our own hands and start to initiate some of these changes. So thanks very much.